All right, and we have the go-ahead. Everyone, it is go time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and
Look, I
Mr.
died.
Craven appears to have collapsed. Oh, he's...
How about that?
He is simulating having been
Oh, what
choked
if I
out.
hang here?
Well, this is it, folks. The big event. This evening, one man will attempt to recreate the suicide of noted pedophile Jeffrey Edward Epstein. It will certainly be a feat like nothing the world has ever seen and could only be attempted by the undisputed superstar of daredevils, Stephen Knieven Crowder. Stephen, tell the folks at home what they can expect to see tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Audio Wade. I appreciate you doing a bang-up job. First, let me be clear. There are about 1 in a million details that we cannot go over or account for in this experiment. But let me be the first to say, or let me say this first on the outset. The number that we are trying to hit on that, was it Newtometer scale? My engineer's not here with me right now. It's 55 kilograms, 121 pounds of force. 55 kilograms, 121 pounds of force is what we're looking to hit to recreate a scenario in which Jeffrey Epstein's suicide is even plausible. Is even remotely possible, and that's the low end. Keep in mind the story that we've been told, as you know from the New York Times, Washington Post, is that Jeffrey Epstein knelt toward the floor with enough force that he broke several bones in his neck on a rope that he fashioned himself from orange bed sheets. Some people thought the bed sheets were paper. That's not true. Apparently, they were actually real bed sheets. And keep in mind, too, something that a lot of people may not know, that when administering death by hanging, the number to ensure death that has always been used historically is 1,000 to 1,250 foot-pounds of force.
Now, why aren't you using that number, Stephen?
I'm gonna get to that in just a second.
And isn't there something about the hyoid bone?
Yeah. I'm glad that you brought that up. Many in the media, they've tried to paint kind of people who are even remotely skeptical of the Epstein suicide as conspiracy theorists. And they often point to the hyoid bone, claiming that Jeffrey Epstein fractured that bone. It only requires 35 pounds of force to fracture. And of course, that makes it seem as though it's very easy, very plausible, the most likely scenario that Jeffrey Epstein hung and killed himself. I believe it's a red herring for several reasons. Couldn't be less relevant to this. For one, the measurement being cited that people are often using, this was in a laboratory where they took a hyoid from a cadaver and put it into a vise, right? That's not the same as a real-world scenario where you've got cartilage and tissue and neck fat, as I well know. Then number two, most importantly, Jeffrey Epstein had 3 fractures in his neck, and you will see us trying to recreate that here in a second. 3 fractures, including thyroid cartilage, which is much more difficult to fracture than the hyoid bone. So let me kind of paint a scenario. If you get into a car wreck, right, you get jostled around and you break your pinky, you break your wrist, but you also break your femur. I can't just recreate a scenario where I break a pinky and say, well, that's good enough for me, call it a day. We need to recreate a scenario in which the most severe fracture is accounted for. And that is what we are trying to do this evening, mimicking the force that will be required to create all 3 fractures that were found in the suicide. It's also important to note, only 8% of victims, by the way, victims of hanging suicide are found with broken hyoid bones. Keep in mind that these are suicides by hanging. They typically aren't kneeling, right? It's usually they're brooksing themselves like in Shawshank, knocking the stool out and hanging from a beam in the ceiling. It's a dead hang.
I'm familiar.
It's a great film. And by the way, very similar tonight. Now we're crawling through miles of just to make this happen for you. So please use the promo code and get your $20 off Mug Club, so this will all be worth it. Earn this. Something else that we need to keep in mind as well, 8% have a fractured hyoid bone. When you go to the statistics of people who have 3 fractures that we saw in Jeffrey Epstein's suicide, that number drops to 1 in 20. Only 1 in 20 from dead hang suicides result in these 3 fractures.
And how often is that kind of fracture found in homicides?
34%, yeah.
So one could argue that these kind of fractures are more likely to occur in a homicide than in a suicide. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. However, though, when we discussed this stunt with an engineer, as you well know, we've had engineers here helping with this project, wanting to be as fair-minded as possible, after reviewing multiple studies, he came to the conclusion that a real-world scenario like we've created right here, in that scenario, about 121 pounds or 55 kilograms are what would be required at minimum to result in the 3 fractures sustained by Mr. Epstein. So we're aiming to achieve a far lower number than even necessary to ensure death by hanging, because we want to be as fair-minded as possible and take the lowest number, the lowest barrier to entry, because we don't know how any of this is going to turn out.
So now before the big stunt, let's go to the tail of the tape. Stephen Knieven has a distinct advantage in both height and weight, meaning that if Epstein wasn't able to produce the kind of force necessary to kill himself, Stephen may in fact be able to. we will certainly see how this affects the outcome of tonight's event.
I do want to say, too, that the number on there is wrong in the tail of the tape. It's 219 now. I put on some LBs, but happens to the best of us.
Duly noted. Please. All right, so Mr. Knieven is approaching the set. We do have trained paramedics standing by. And again, that number, folks, that we are shooting for is 55 kilograms. We will be measuring at the neck as well as the tension of the rope. And it looks like he is being fitted with a heart monitor, getting that all set to go. We have the replica, again, of the orange bed sheets that will be wrapped around Mr. Knieven's neck. This, again, in line with exactly what Mr. Epstein would have experienced. We have the cell here, and the sheet is about to be placed around Mr. Knieven's neck. But first, his pupils are being checked there. All right, and again, we'll be measuring for 55 kilograms. 55 kilograms we'll be testing at the neck and on the tension of the rope.
All set.
All right, waiting for the go-ahead from Mr. Knieven himself.
All set? All right.
Set.
All right, and we have the go-ahead. Everyone, it is go time. Again, 55 kilograms is what we will be looking for on the rope and at the neck. He is leaning. We have 22 at the rope. We have, let's see, yes, 28 on the neck.
22 on the rope.
22 on the rope, a steady 22.
It switched to pounds. Okay, hold on.
Oh, we're getting the signal to stop. We're getting the signal to
We need to
stop.
switch this. Sorry, something went wrong. What do we have on the rope?
22 on the rope.
The rope is kilograms.
Achieved. We're good.
Are we able to achieve? Okay. So one thing I want to note, this is the most important measurement, audio Wade, but this is probably the least accurate device that we have. So this is designed because the compression at the neck is going to be dispersed around the neck. The number is going to be lower than this monitor right here directly on the cord. So you'll notice that the number is significantly lower at the neck, significantly higher at the cord. The real life number is probably between those two. But even then, leading, well, we got to 22 kilograms?
22 kilograms.
Okay.
22.
I'm going to try this again. And I think that I can actually, hold on one second, I think I can actually get this pretty close. In the spirit of being fair-minded, I think I can get this pretty close. I think I can do it. Okay.
All right, Mr.
You ready?
Knieven appears to be ready.
All set on both.
Waiting for the signal from... All right, and we have the signal all set to go. We have
My foot
Mr. Knieven
against the
leaning
bed.
again. Again, this is go time, putting his foot against the bed. He's pushing. We have 16.1 at the neck, 37 at the neck,
On the rope.
38 on the rope, 38 on the rope, 23 as a high on the neck. We have, again, we are shooting for 55 kilograms. We are not even close. 41 is the peak on the rope.
What's
Again,
the
the signal
tally?
to stop.
41 on the rope.
41 on the rope. What do we have on the neck?
23 was the high on the neck.
Okay, so the high. It's 23 kilograms on the neck, 43 on the rope, which is the best that we've had. I don't know if you guys could see I was pressing up against the bed. Of course, I probably have more friction on a plywood panel here than he would have in a prison. We got pretty close. I want to explore every option here and do everything I can to see if we can actually hit this number. And I do think that I could probably hit this number if I really push it. I just need a little bit of time to catch my breath. Oh, that was 44? 44 and 22 on the rope.
Yep,
Okay.
22 on the neck.
22 on the neck. All right. So on the neck, that's not even close.
No, not even close.
But the rope was close.
The rope was close.
So the real number is probably somewhere in the 30s.
Yes,
Okay.
which means you're still alive.
All right. We have everything, the safety mechanisms that we need.
Yes, we do.
O2?
Perfect.
Okay.
Good.
Good. All right. Let's get the meter set. Let me know when we're good. I'm going to go for one last try.
Clear. Here
All
we go.
set.
Ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen, Mr. Knieven
Ready?
is going for one last try. We are all set to go, and we have the signal. As Mr. Knieven leans, we are looking for 55
We're getting there.
kilograms. We have
13.4 on the neck.
25
Hold on, what if I slump?
25 on the rope.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and
Like I
Mr.
died.
Knieven appears to have collapsed. Oh,
How about that?
he is
25 on the
simulating having been
What if
choked
I
out.
hang here?
20,
Yeah.
25.
Again, we
Hold
have
steady.
peaked again at
What if I go, hold on?
25
What if I go
number
like
on
this?
the rope.
Yeah,
Nope,
nowhere near.
nope, not
Okay,
really doing it.
Gerald, you have to wheelbarrow me.
Okay,
You have to
okay.
wheelbarrow me.
Mr. Crowder
Get my
appears
legs
to
up.
be
Here we go.
requesting a wheelbarrow move.
55, 56!
56.
We got
He
it.
achieved 56 on the neck and 58 on the rope.
You're out.
Oh, Mr. Crowder is rolling. Mr. Crowder is being addressed by the man of professionals. Again, the high on that was 62, which is far beyond what is necessary to fracture the neck cartilage.
58 on the neck.
58 on the neck.
On the rope.
Well done.
Very nice.
Mr. Crowder again has collapsed. He appears to be okay. Mr. Crowder appears to be okay.
Check my pupils. Check my pupils.
He is requesting to be checked in the pupils.
62.9.
62.9 on the rope. My goodness, we are testing the limits here. Mr. Knieman is approaching now.
Okay, hold on. Audio, wait. I don't think I've ever felt so alive. I have felt more alive, but this, it's painful. Painful, but I don't think I would suicided.
Mr. Knieman, there appears to have been a lot of commotion over there. What do you think went
Hold on,
wrong?
let me fix my cape.
Please, please.
Okay. What were you asking? Hold on, let me get this off. I want to take my helmet. Thank you.
Yes, there appears to have been a lot of commotion. What do you think went wrong?
It's a good question. I'm still a little fuzzy. I think a better question is what went right. It seemed like everything kind of went wrong there. The meter was maladjusted to pounds initially, and that's what we were getting. I thought there was too much of a discrepancy. We were kind of expecting it to be not as heavy on the neck because, of course, there wouldn't be as much from the compression, heavier on the cord. I heard those first numbers out there. I panicked. I thought maybe we had a calibration wrong. It just turns out that one of them reset to pounds. So that went wrong. And I've had to question some life decisions that have led me to this point. Audio, wait.
Well, Mr. Knieman, the viewers have to know, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein could have killed himself?
Oh, boy, that's a loaded question. Well, I'll say this. For everyone watching, what we really set out to achieve tonight was to hopefully show you a real-world scenario where what we've been told about the Jeffrey Epstein death doesn't seem to have been entirely accurate. I certainly we didn't even talk about the hyoid bone, but we passed that really easily. Could have done that without the neck brace. It's obviously, that's not the number that people should be concerned about. What we set out to prove was that people who are skeptical at all doesn't mean that you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. I think your criticisms are valid, and we wanted to put on a show, hopefully give you the ability to draw your own conclusions and give you one hell of a discount, which we have offered tonight with the promo code Epstein at lighthearthcreditor.com/mugclub. And your signing up tonight continues to fund episodes like this. I'm really just buying time because I've had to think it through. I will say this. In the spirit of trying to be fair and as objective as possible, if Jeffrey Epstein had been able to fashion a rope from bed sheets, which takes approximately 9 to 15 minutes going completely unnoticed in his cell, and if he were able to achieve the exact right angle and have somebody wheelbarrow him in his cell, potentially a cellmate, and if he were able to do that and snap his neck before he passes out, as that only takes about 3 to 5 seconds, as we know, considering the tension, and all the guards fell asleep, I think it could be possible. It could be possible. If all of those conditions are met, and those conditions would need to be met, I was trying with everything I had by myself. I wasn't able to hit that number. I do think that in being objective, it is a possibility. As to whether it's the most likely scenario, people will have to decide for themselves.
Well, there you have it, folks. Perhaps we'll never know what really happened that fateful night.
Hey, do you like what you saw? I don't know how, because it's on YouTube and we have to cut all the good parts out. So you should tune in live weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on Rumble. We can still speak freely and even use words like and get and whoa. You've been here this whole time?
Yeah. Snuck in.